here today to talk about the Spring Art Bento Box. This is the first of the seasonal boxes for 2016, and I'm super excited about what is in this one. This one, I've already kind of unwrapped everything, just so we can take a quick look in it, and then we will get to our project. So we have a 3-pack of field notes. These are super awesome. They come with 48 pages in each book. They have 3 staples. And I love them. I love doing little sketchbooks and art journals and a bunch of really fun things, visual journals and kind of libraries I create. They're awesome. We also have some gouache, which is fun. It's like an opaque watercolor, a Faber-Castell Pitt pen, some really fun, bright spring ephemera, and some really bright, fun spring paper pack. So we're going to get started here. I'm going to go ahead and throw the field notes back in here because I already have one unwrapped with a sample started in it. So for this project, you're going to need a field notes. You're going to need the brush pen, the gouache, and I totally forgot. There's one more thing in the box. There's a pencil, a dipped pencil. So we're going to use that as well. The paper pack and the ephemera pack. So these are the things we're going to use from the box. From your own art supply stash, you're going to need a glue stick, a couple of brushes, a round one and a flat one. I use little scraps of cardboard for a palette to mix paint. And you're going to need some gouache. It does not have to be golden gouache, or it could just be white paint. So, get those things off to the side. I've already done a sample with blue gouache, what we're going to do. So here's that. We're going to do a art journal page in the field notes. And as you can see, I wanted to do a sample so you could see the marker and the gouache and the pencil all kind of in action on this page. I did not gesso this page first, so you can see it did not go through the other side. So we don't have to worry about that. You can gesso it. We're using the gesso for a nice chalky white paint to go along with the really chalky gouache. So that's what the gesso is for. You can decide to gesso your page first, but you do not have to. So, to get started, we're going to do a little prompt to kind of get us focused on spring and spring colors and spring words and just what does spring mean to us. So we're going to do our prompt on this page, and we're going to do our art journaling page over here. So I want you to write down 3 words that remind you of spring. So my words are bright, flowers, and rain. Those are definitely all spring to me. So we also want to write down some types of flowers. We're going to do 3 of those. So tulips and daffodils and crocus. And then we're going to write down 3 colors. Pink, green, and yellow for me. So then kind of a bonus is shapes. And this is a little bit trickier. So you might be like, 3 shapes? Like, how do you think of spring shapes? Well, for me, raindrops is a shape. I just wrote down rain shape. Raindrops. And lines and circles. All are kind of spring to me. And by lines, for me, I think like a little short line, like little dashes. They just seem like they have a lot of energy. So I like to do some kind of a prompt or some kind of a brainstorm session before I start an art journal page. It gives me things to work with. I also work intuitively a lot, meaning I just start a page and I just let what happens happen. But I think it's fun to kind of do it both ways. So that's how we're going to start this page. So let's go ahead and just get right to it now that we have kind of that concept work. So I like to take little pieces of scrap cardboard and put my paint on it. I use the cardboard pieces again later because they've all been painted, little bits and scraps. So let's see, I have one over here. So you can kind of see that. Like I'll use that again later in mixed media work. So get a little water, kind of mix out that paint a little bit and load your brush up. The first thing we're going to do is put down some color just right on there. And these are like opaque watercolors, so you can use some water to really spread that color out. And kind of get the whole center of your page kind of covered with color and kind of push that color around. I like to have like these brush strokes. I think it looks interesting, and just kind of let those brush strokes just bleed off of the edges of that color and create a little visual interest. And you can see like a little dab of water really gets that color moving around. It's a neat thing about gouache. You can use it like graphically. People use gouache to paint a really opaque illustration or painting. You can definitely use it for that too, but since we're doing some mixed media with it, I like to kind of push the medium into different ways. So now we have a good amount of color on there. I like to go in, I'm impatient, so I like to go in and like blot that. I get some good texture going on there. I pull a little bit of that wet color off, and then I dry it faster so that I can get right to creating. So while that sits for a minute, we are gonna pull out our ephemera. Ooh, I like this little butterfly moth we got here. So we're going to might use this guy. And I'll keep that out. Let's see what we've got going on in the paper. So I have a yellow sheet, this kind of green flowery sheet, some turquoise, and then the papers that came in this month's box. Loving the silver and that lime green together. So we'll put these to the side. I think we're definitely going to use some of that. And we're going to go ahead and get the gouache out. I think for this page, I'm going to do tulips. That's one of our words here. And I'm going to use this gouache a little bit more. I'm going to start to kind of do these tulips in white right on top. And what's going to happen is it's going to mix in to the gouache and pick up some of that color, which I really like. That's kind of the point of like using this wet on wet. It's still a little wet. And just kind of get a basic tulip shape. We're going to go back in with marker at the end here and add some details. So the goal here is just to get kind of that cup tulip shape and allow that color to blend a little bit. We got a nice kind of white pink going on here with some variation. That just creates some interest there. I like doing, from a composition standpoint, I like to do things in 3. It's nice. You can immediately build a composition. So we're going to go back into this gouache a little bit. Just kind of just dip the end in there and just load up the brush a little bit. And just kind of put some little personality back in to the tulip. Just some variation in color. and then kind of blend that down. Just kind of bring that life and kind of make that pop, those contrasts of darks and lights. While that's drying, we're gonna look at our papers here and see what we can use and kind of plan this out. I'm really liking this. This yellow happens to have this kind of pinky color on it as well. So we're gonna use some of this. I like to just rip my pages. And I'm gonna create like a little frame with this right in there. I'm also gonna stick my finger in the paint. We'll move you to the side. So if you've watched any of my videos before, you'll know that I like to use a piece of cardboard to glue on so I don't get glue on my artboard. So we're going to pull that out. It's got a lot of glue built up on it at this point, but that's okay because it's all dried, so we just keep using it. So just work up a little bit of other color, some texture. This paper has good fibers in it. And I like kind of that haphazard textural look that I get when I kind of rip my ephemera and my pages, my papers. I think it adds a little playful touch to just have it be a little free and not cut with scissors and planned. I'm going to put this little piece in here too. Try to appear. Just create interesting little frame. Now from an art journal standpoint, I like to use words and writing in it, obviously, but I kind of like to do a stream of conscious writing. So while that's still drying, I'm going to look back at my words and look at bright and flowers and rain and just do a little bit of writing in pencil. Be on the edge here. The flowers grow best with love. Just kind of repeat some words. So I repeated flowers, and I'm repeating love. I'm repeating grow. Just to add a little kind of language to it. And we'll add some other language with a brush pen. I love the brush tip markers. I use them a lot. You can get a lot of good line variation with them. You can do script writing with them. So we're going to kind of come in here and we're going to add some stems to our tulips and bring them, add some leaves. We're going to bring them into a vase down here. And I really find it interesting to do vases that are black and white, especially when I have like a main color. So very much like my sample, we have this little vase. We're going to look at the shapes that we have identified. And I see lines and I see circles here. So we're going to go to the circles and kind of get a nice push on this brush pen and start to create this vase out of just shapes. And kind of this implied vase shape that we have here. And I think the starkness of the black and white gives you kind of an interesting, playful element. And really, it's good contrast against this color. So we're going to come back in here with the round brush and start adding some little details. Gesso is a nice combination with the gouache because of the chalkiness of the gouache and the gesso. They play together well. We're going to do lines, kind of the raindrop line in the background. And just let that, bleed right over onto our torn pages. And also go in with the brush pen and just really lightly with the brush pen. Just give yourself some contrast against those whites. And thinking about the words again and what words we've written here. I'm going to write love in there. We're going to go back to this round brush and pick up. So since this is watercolor, like this is drying here in my palette, but I can reactivate that with some water. So you can see I got color back on that brush even though it was drying. We're going to come back in here, add a little color to our word. Add a little color around the bottom of this vase, just to kind of direct the eye. And then with the pencil, what I like to do with a pencil is add some scribble. It's nice to kind of go along the edges of things, just add a little scribble and a little personality. Of that, bring those frame edges to life a little bit. I'm literally just scribbling. I'm going to scribble in between these leaves Maybe put some lines on there. Just add a little definition and a little fun touch. I'm thinking we're going to go ahead and add that guy as well. Our little paper cut. And put him in to close up this gouache. And with the same pencil, just add a little darkness around some of these edges, just to ground him to the page. So he's not just glued in there, but he's got a little definition, a little purpose for him too. And there we go. We used a little bit of our paper, a little bit of our ephemera, have a little palette, and we created a art journaling page with all the materials from the spring art bento box. And as you can see, we're good to go for the next page as well. Thank you so much for supporting Art Bento Box, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I'd love to hear your feedback, and I will see you in the summer. Bye!